Why you should not buy a Caucasian Shepherd dog if you are a novice dog owner. Anyone who has ever seen a Caucasian Shepherd puppy is aware that there are few more beautiful and cute puppy animals than they are. They all resemble a lovely teddy bear with fluffy fur and a charming outlook. Many people even get discouraged at this time and without a more thorough knowledge of the breed, and even worse, they buy a Caucasian Shepherd dog with minimal, no former dog experience at all. Few people know that such a reckless and hasty experiment ends well in the rarest of cases, and almost never the end result will be the balanced and problem-free owner and dog relationship that most dog owners consider ideal, but a tragedy instead, either on the part of man or on the part of the dog. Why we think it's so? We will try to summarize it for you in the following 5 points. Before we get started, we ask you not to forget to subscribe to our channel if you have not done it before. For you it is less than a second and a click, but it means a lot to us. Thank you in advance. The name and the reality. We will start by saying that the very name is misleading in relation to Caucasian Shepherds, since nowadays in their case, we can no longer talk in the least about Shepherd or LGD dogs. If someone is looking for a dog of this nature or character, an ideal LGD dog, who easily fits into a pack, or is neutral with foreign people outside the boundaries of its territory, do not look for Caucasian Shepherds. It is true to say that the ancestors of today's Caucasian Shepherd dogs were shepherd dogs engaged in guarding flocks around the Caucasus Mountains, but the dog we now call Caucasian Shepherd acquired its final form in the state breedery of the 1950s Soviet Union, the Krasnaya Zvezda, or Red Star in English, who were breeding dogs specifically for military, or rather, gulag guarding purposes. At that time, dogs were needed who could withstand the cold well, were not afraid of anyone, lacked the prudence and caution that would otherwise be characteristic of Shepherd and LGD dogs. The breed was formed in accordance with these parameters and can be considered much more as raw military and guard dogs than Shepherd or LGD dogs. Pack hierarchy. In the case of the Caucasian Shepherd, a phenomenon that we often see and experience is that mainly in the case of dominant adult individuals, the owners are treated as a pack member similar to a dog, who must constantly show strength in order to establish his leadership and be recognized by the dog. Weakness, even any temporary fallibility, cannot fit into this, since, if this dog breed experiences such a thing, a Caucasian tends to attempt to take over the pack leadership. In the case of dominant breeds of dogs with high physical strength and strong will, this phenomenon can occur sporadically, but perhaps it is not as characteristic of any breed as it is in the case of Caucasian Shepherd dogs. We have a number of acquaintances who have to play the question of supremacy almost every year with their dominant male Caucasian, sometimes in a milder, but much more frequently in a rude and powerful way. Most of them are experienced dog trainers and owners. They understand the nature of the breed. But what would a beginner, or an average family father do in a situation like this, who experienced the biggest conflict of his life while watching the Game of Thrones series on HBO, or when he once contradicted the little boss during a company meeting? Relationship with the family. This point also comes in part from what we have just said. In many cases, especially if the owner cannot properly discipline the dog in a given situation, which, let's face it, is not always easy, these dogs tends to treat the family as part of the pack as well. This becomes particularly problematic if, say, a small child or a featherweight woman are punished and corrected by the dog, like a pack of young Caucasians. While a Caucasian puppy doesn't even notice such a warning and disciplining sting, it can cause a lifetime of trauma for a toddler. Dissolution of territorial aggression. Almost all territory guarding dogs are characterized by having strong territorial aggression, which mean aggressive and offensive action towards strangers entering or coming close to their territory. In relation to Caucasian Shepherd dogs, it is often observed that, and here we use one of Laszlo Bartha's formulations, the territorial aggression of the dog is dissolved from the territory. A particular dog becomes more and more human aggressive, which after a while is no longer tied to the area to be protected, manifests itself in almost all situations and conditions. The dog is becoming more and more difficult to be held back during walks, so walks are increasingly missed out, the dog turns inwards, and, in the downward spiral, there is no stopping. Of course, this is not to say that all this is an exclusively Caucasian characteristic, since this phenomenon can appear in almost all powerful, poorly treated large and powerful dog breeds. However, in the case of Caucasian Shepherds, it is especially common, since once, one of the breeding goals of Soviet ethologists working on finalizing the character of this breed was to create a breed that does not feel any fear or inhibition towards people or any man. Summary. We do not want you to misunderstand what we have said in the previous points. Caucasian Shepherds, or rather Caucasian Guard Dogs, do have a place among working dogs, under certain and special circumstances, with an experienced, tougher than average owner. Are we talking about guarding and protecting several hectares of land, farms, industrial areas, abandoned homesteads further away from civilization? Ideal. Has the owner had any former experiences with extra-sized, occasionally 200-pound, extremely strong and dominant dogs? Perfect. Unfortunately, our experience of recent years does not show us that the majority of Caucasian puppies end up with such conditions and owners. To fit a dog of this size, with such set of instincts, temperament and character, into a city or residential area is almost impossible. It will not be pleasant for anyone, not even for the owner, for the dog and their environment. And, in the case of a novice dog owners, the almost word can be omitted from the previous statement. Failure and conflicts are in 100% guaranteed and coded. We recently received a letter asking us for help from the letter writer. A 65-old-year lady got a male Caucasian puppy as a gift from her daughter. With the exclamation, "Well, this will protect you." The lady has never had a dog before. The 2-year-old dog, not yet fully grown up, really guards and protects, and terrorizes the neighbors. The old lady has been bitten by the dog several times. The family is terrified. The shelters do not accept the dog. They cannot find a new owner for him. The situation worsens like an avalanche. What to do in a situation like this? What can we answer for such a question? 2 years ago you should have thought it over, instead of acting. To minimize similar cases, that's partly why we made this video. We hope to succeed.